Hi there. Welcome. I'm Sherry Johnson. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm excited to bring Building a Goldmine Pipeline to you, and I hope you're ready for a really fast-paced hour and about 15 minutes. We usually go about an hour and 15 minutes. This is being recorded so that you can take notes right now, but you can also plan to watch the recorded version at any time. You can also ask questions at any time. Feel free. There's a feature there where you can ask me questions throughout the session, and hopefully you can all hear me okay. And we are getting started. So people are getting on, and I see that is happening again. I'm Sherry Johnson. Welcome to Building a Goldmine Pipeline from Sherry Johnson Coaching and Consulting. We are the premier coaching and consulting company, national speaking company in the country. We are looking forward to bringing you this webinar and many others. You can find us on the web at sherryjohnson.com. And also, if you're on Facebook, check us out at Sherry Johnson Coaching. Always ask your clients for a 5-star review. I will ask you if you got something great out of this session today, to please go visit my page and comment, share something, a great takeaway that you got from today's session, and leave me a review as well. That would be awesome. So you can follow me as well on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. And we look forward to sharing and talking about social media stuff with you too. We have a huge social media class that will be coming soon. And you'll get an email with that information next month, so you won't want to miss that. As I continue to wait for some folks to get on and move, I'm just going to start now. It's about 3 minutes after the hour. And I just want to say, first of all, the fact that you're on this webinar right now means you are either a brand new agent, an experienced agent, or a top agent who is trying to build consistent income or take your business to the next level. So just to set the tone, there is no right answer. You are not behind, you are not ahead, you are not anywhere except where you are right now, which is exactly where you should be. So if you feel overwhelmed or you feel like you don't have any business, completely normal. And you could also feel like you have a ton of leads and you're just not getting anywhere with anyone. And that's normal too, because that happens. And we get a whole bunch of people and we're waiting for them to tell us that they're ready to list their home, and they don't, right? You're kind of waiting. So we're going to talk about how to overcome that, how to get more people on the list. We're going to cover a goldmine pipeline for consistent growth, which you're going to love, because that consistent growth means that you are making money consistently every single month. You can count on that. You can actually predict it to happen, and you're going to be so excited that you won't even know really what to do, because you'll have people in the pipeline and you'll have lots of opportunities to convert those leads. So at the moment, I've got Roseanne and Holly helping me as well on the webinar. So they're here. We're live tweeting, and we're excited to share this great class with you. My goal for you today is that you take away real strategies that produce results, meaning you're not just going to listen to this and say, wow, that was a really great class, but you're going to say, I heard something today. I'm going to put into place, put into action, better yet. And when you put it into action, the results come. So I'm excited for you, because this will take you through that process. We're going to talk about the sales process and what does that even mean. I'll share with you the conversion process of how we take people through their decision to buy or sell. And sometimes it happens very quickly, and other times people need more time. And so wherever you meet them in the process, that's okay. We'll learn today that you can build this pipeline, build an amazing book a business, okay, and then convert all those leads, which you'll find out secrets of how to do that today. And as, again, more people are getting on, but what I'd like to tell you just real quickly in my background is that I was a top agent in Cleveland, Ohio. I live in Cleveland now, and I took my business from 7 to 14 million in 1 year. I sold for about 9.5 years. Then I went into management and managed teams of people that were ranging in offices from size of office from 50. One office I had, and then another office, I had 150 agents. It was awesome. And both again in Cleveland, Ohio for one of the country's largest, third largest real estate company brokerages in the country. And I got to recruit, coach, train hundreds and thousands of agents, and the systems that I used to help them build their businesses from 0 to 6 million in their first year. Several did $4 to $6 million in Cleveland with an average sale price of about 200. And then take people from 6 million to 15 or 6 million to 50 million, and work with agents of all different backgrounds and production levels and goals. So all of what I'm going to share with you today is stuff I developed when I was an agent that I've coached agents with. I know it works. I've coached managers with this to use. And it's not only accountability to yourself, but this will get you out of a slump. This will get you up and running quickly. If you're a new agent, if you're an experienced agent, and you have, for whatever reasons, you decided to focus on other things in your life, things came up, whatever, okay, and you're restarting your business again, this will get you excited about the business again, because you'll realize how much business you do have that you don't realize you have. And again, if you're a top agent, you want to double. Top agent to me is anything over $5 million. You're doing 5 and you want to do 10, you can go from 3 to 14 using this system. So whatever the experience level, wherever you are, is exactly where you are today, and that's okay. So there's no right answer, there's no right way to do this. So I'm looking at, I think we have a question, and let's see. I am recording this. Everybody wanted to know, and just if you're getting on now, it's about 8 minutes after 11. We are recording this, so you'll have a copy of it by the end of today in your inbox, recorded version of this. And if for whatever reason you end up losing that recorded version, you can always email me. We'll send it to you again, so you can watch this. It is recorded. Some of the handouts that I'm going to show you today that are on the screen will actually be emailed to you as well. So you're getting the recorded version, recorded broadcast, and you're also getting the handouts sent to you via email. So those will be in the email that you get. And that will help you start using these tools right away. So absolutely, we are recording. So good stuff there, and good question. Thank you for asking that again. First off, I will start by saying you are the CEO of your company. Okay, you have to look at it that way. You're running a business. You are the CEO of your company, and you have to say to yourself, I have to make this happen. It's great when opportunities come to you and they show up, and they're referral sources, and the people in your sphere that just bring you business. Those are wonderful, and I love when that happens as well. But you are the CEO of your company. You have to run this like a business. So you're under the umbrella of your brokerage, but you're running your own business. Even as a single agent, you are running your own business, and you have to look at it that way. So the mindset of being you are the CEO. You have to say to yourself, I need to have a profit and loss. I need to know that what I'm spending money on is giving me a return on investment. And I have to go make this happen. I'm in sales, and I'm responsible for making this happen. And in my experience, in 23 years of being, executive, a manager, an agent in real estate, plus 5 other years in business, I can tell you that successful agents make this happen. They're not relying on fast, quick fixes, buying leads or getting, those are all great. But I talk to too many agents that, are spending money on leads and they're not converting them. And really, the truth is you can convert your own leads without spending any money on them, build this pipeline, and make as much money as you want to make. So I've helped people go from making, $2,000 every other month to making $10,000 every month using this system and more. So you are the CEO, and think that, wear the CEO hat. It's your business, and we're gonna treat it like that, and we're going to take you to a whole new level. Working on your business is just as important as working in it. So I realize that every day we are looking at, how do I maximize the day? What am I doing today that's going to bring in new business or bring in a face-to-face appointment? Because if I'm not face-to-face with people, I'm not making a commission, right? And so agents will say to me, I'm not getting over $3 million. And I say, well, that's because you don't have enough contact. You're not talking to enough people. We need to open up your pipeline and add more people to it. And the more people you're doing business with or talking to about doing business with, the more opportunities you will have. So we can't just work in the business every day. Yes, you have to go take down lock boxes. You have to put up signs. You have to show houses and negotiate and do all those things that are part of working in the business. But we also need to have time where you carve out time to work on your business and actually do proactive things. So writing down goals, looking at them every day, focusing on making sure you have appointments in your calendar. If you don't have appointments, you're not going to make any money. It's just the way that goes, right? If I don't have face-to-face appointments with people, I'm not in front of people. I can't write an offer. I can't write a listing contract. Nothing's going to happen. So if you don't have appointments, you aren't in business. So every day you have to focus on, what am I going to do today to generate more business? And then from those leads, the leads we're putting on this pipeline, how to convert those people into an appointment. So having an accountability coach other than yourself, it's great to say, I'm going to hold myself accountable, but I also grade my own papers and I'll tell myself I'm doing okay, right? So even if I'm not, when that happens, we start to rationalize and make excuses that, I don't need to make these calls because I'm just settling again for status quo. And that's how you end up staying in that rut, because you just move the goal or you don't have the accountability of somebody else that's actually sharing that with you. So when you share that with your manager, a friend, an accountability partner, someone besides your spouse, I believe, or significant other, I feel that those folks always support us and help us, but they're not going to say, hey, you know what, it's the first week of the last week of the month, and you're supposed to have 4 deals on the board and you only have 2. So where are the other 2? You need somebody that's going to say that to you. And usually it's best if it's someone else, right? Using a daily activity sheet and tracking whatever is tracked and measured actually improves. Okay, so when we track and measure how many appointments we go on, we track and measure how many calls we make, all right? Those numbers improve. Your conversion rate will improve. The number of appointments you go on will improve because you're actually thinking about it instead of just sort of winging it and saying, I hope I list a house, or I hope somebody calls me this week, because it's not going to happen, right? We know that. We know hope is not an action. It's not creating the business. So we know whatever's tracked and measured will improve. And what's really great is when it's tracked and measured and then reported to another person, that accountability person, we know that it will exponentially improve. So I've taken agents with the system you're going to see today from listing and closing 4 units a month to listing and closing 14 units a month. Pretty cool stuff. So that's what happens when you track what you're doing. You track what, the activities you're doing. You are razor focused on it. You're doing it. You are just literally laser beam focused on what you're doing and how often you're doing it. So Sales conversion process is a great visual that will help you realize what it is we do every day as real estate agents, as salespeople. So we have contacts, we have past clients, and we have contacts we know and people we don't know that are in our database or out in the world, right? So all these people who need shelter, they all need a place to live. And your job is to find them. And so you either have them in your database already, they're past clients, they're people you know, or they're people you don't know and you haven't met yet. Our job is to, once we identify a need for real estate, our job is to convert them into a lead. At that point, the lead is either an email that you've gotten on an online opportunity, or it's someone who called in on one of your properties, it's someone you met at an open house, it's someone you met at Starbucks, the grocery store, your kid's sporting event, wherever, a cocktail party, a business function you went to with your partner or friend. So you're meeting all these contacts. All those people turn into leads the minute you recognize that they have a need for a real estate purchase or sale. So if they're the minute you identify that, they become a lead. Once they become a lead, they go on the pipeline. Okay. Once we have them as leads, the next job is to convert them into working with just you, working with just us, right? So how do I do that? Well, adding tremendous value will get them to choose me. It will get them to work with me, and it will get them to work exclusively with me, with or without an exclusive buyer agreement. So you can add tremendous value between identifying someone as a lead and turning them into a client, which now means they're working with you. They're your client. You're not just a email address, right? You're not just an email address in their inbox, which is, let's face it, what ends up happening. But we actually are adding value. We're giving them a home buyer guide. We're giving them a pre-listing presentation. We're talking to them about how we can come over before we list the house to help them get it ready. So we're adding value. We're getting these people through the process. And then from client, the next step is, once we've identified that they're working with us, is getting an appointment with them. This is where we fail miserably between these two categories. And I don't mean to be so blunt, but the truth is that most of us, okay, most agents fail between converting someone from a lead to a client, solidifying that relationship, and then also we fail between converting someone from a client, they're working with you, into an appointment. Too many times agents are waiting for the customer to say, hey, I'm ready, come see my house, come list my house. And I'll give you some examples of that in our session today. So our job is to take them from lead to client, client to appointment. And once we have an appointment, we're one step closer to writing an offer, right? So we do a written contract, the next step. And then after that, of course, we have to keep the deal together through the home inspection process and everything else that goes on, closing. And then certainly those closings turn into commission dollars. And that's how we do this. So I want you to think about, where are the people in the stage of the process, because you've probably only looked or dealt with or focused on the 7 or 8 people that are in the now, the people that want to do something right now. Those are the ones that agents tend to focus on, and everybody else either goes on a list or gets put on a list, or doesn't even get put on a list, and you lose them because you're not thinking about them as a future customer. You're just working with the people right now, right? So if you're only working with the people right now, all those other opportunities you're not capitalizing on, and they're going to someone else. Okay, those people are going to go to somebody else. So our role, our job, is to work with these people and identify, by asking really good questions, where they are in the sales process. You don't say, where are you in the sales process? You say, you identify that yourself. You ask really good questions, and you can say to them, I want to help you. And if you identify that they're just starting out, well, that's okay. I need people 3 months from now. So I'm going to teach you today how to build this pipeline that will ensure future business down the road from now. It's great. So keep this chart in mind, this process, because from lead to client and client to appointment is where we're really going to strengthen your skills and have you compete at a much higher level, because you will be converting more business. Okay, that's the whole goal here, to convert more leads into income and add value. And when you add value and have the right delivery and script strategy, you can ensure that all these people will be on your list for a long time. And when the time is right, they're going to buy from you. I always ask this question, and it's a great one, because when I'm in an actual in-person, I always ask this. And the truth is, I need to say, like, who has a listing appointment this week already scheduled in your calendar, right? It's in your book. And if you already have that, fantastic. You already have you have an appointment in the calendar, and you're going somewhere in the next 7 days for a listing appointment. And maybe some of you have more than one, which is fantastic. I always say, and here's how I want you to think. I always say, who has a listing appointment this week and you just don't know the address, right? Everyone, right? We all hands go up. I have a listing appointment. I just don't know the address yet, okay? You have to wake up every day and say, I'm going to list or sell a house today. I just don't know the address. I just don't know the address. At the beginning of the year, you came up with a number of homes you needed to sell to make the income that you want to make. And maybe it's 36 houses. I don't know. Maybe it's 52. I don't know. Maybe it's 24, or maybe it's 100. But whatever that number is, right? You came up with that number. And those units, those homes, we don't really care what the addresses are, do we? As long as they're all in the really great price point in your market. I usually say, as long as they're all over 300,000, if that's your average sale price, or that's where you want to be, or whatever the average sale price is, higher than that, you would be happy with that. So you have to say to yourself, it doesn't really matter what the address is on those sales, okay? Because we get hung up on, too many times, those 7 or 10 people that we work with, that those are the only people we're talking to, right? And we count on them so much that if they don't happen, we spend a lot of downtime upset about it, which is not productive, and it's not going to help you go, recover from that and pick up new business. So we have to have people in the pipeline. And when you do that, you will create consistent opportunities every month. You'll have listings every month. You'll have just a flowing pipeline of leads happening for you. And I always say this is been said before. It's not my line, but opportunities are not lost. They go to someone else. So the truth is, if you don't maximize the opportunity by putting these people who are just starting out, right? They're just starting out looking, and every agent will say, well, they're not ready and I don't want to work with them. Well, what if they would be ready in 3 months? Wouldn't you want business 3 months from now? The answer is yes. So think about these opportunities are not lost. They go to someone else, meaning someone else is going to pick them up. Someone else is going to convert that lead if it's not you. Someone else is going to sell them that house. And so this has happened to you already, but individually, they don't seem as bad when they happen. But if you thought about how many you lost over the last year or 2 years and added up the commission dollars, it's a sizable amount of money. So we don't want to lose any opportunities. We want every opportunity to show up on our list, and we want to be the one who maximizes that opportunity when the time is right for those people. So we also know this fact, and this is true. Where there is one sign in a neighborhood, 2 to 3 more signs are going to go up in the next 6 to 12 months. Another area that we just don't maximize enough. And so with my coaching clients, we work on how to be the expert in your neighborhood, how to dominate a neighborhood, and really be the one that everyone goes to, that person that just is, they get every listing. And it always amazes me that truly, where there's one sale, 2 to 3 more signs are going to go up in the next 6 to 12 months. Will they be yours? Right? Will you be the one to maximize those opportunities, or will they be other people's signs? And so you can put a plan in place if you think strategically, if you strategically look at the business as, I'm going to proactively go after the business in a neighborhood that has high turnover, that is where everybody wants to live. It's at a great price point, and you can dominate that marketplace. Part of this process is to identify those neighborhoods and then go after it. So we're talking about how do we build a GoldMine pipeline for consistent growth. And I like to say this phrase, which is on purpose. We're doing this on purpose with a goal, with a strategy. And the strategy is, if I want to sell 36 houses this year, I probably need to have between 50 and 55 listing and buyer leads on my pipeline all the time, because I don't know which ones are going to happen right away. And I don't know which ones are going to happen when either. So some people, as we know, say they're going to list and they change their mind. It gets pushed off a month or two, right? Or 6 months. Some people are going to buy, then their plans change. So we're going to build this thing on purpose with the intention of creating consistent growth and then moreover, consistent income. And here's what happens. Instead of having this like feast and famine, we sell houses and then we spend 6 weeks closing those houses and going through home inspection, closing and servicing those. We aren't prospecting, and what ends up happening? We don't have any sales, so we have to start over every time. So you close a bunch of business, then you spend all this time servicing those closings. They all close, they transfer title, and now you say, oh my gosh, I don't have anything, and now you have to go prospect again. So if we are always prospecting, we're always adding people to our pipeline, and we have a full pipeline, we will always have new business coming in. It's not about selling, closing, and servicing all those people, and then starting over again every month. And that's what creates that up and down roller coaster ride of not enough income, let's face it. So to give yourself, even if it's $5,000 a month of steady income doing this, wouldn't that be fantastic? For some of you, it might be saying you need to go from $5,000 to $10,000 a month or $8,000 a month. All I know is that you can predict and create it for yourself if you follow this guideline and you follow this strategy. So let's get right to it. So the pipeline of leads worksheet looks like this. And as you're looking at this form, I created this form when I was an agent, and I used to look at all the people that I was talking to and say, if everybody listed their house with me that I'm talking to, what would that amount to, right? And if it all sold, right? And then I would say, if every buyer that I was talking to about buying also bought from me, what does that add up to in value? And when you add those things up together, it's amazing. And you say, wow, I have $8 million in my pipeline, and we haven't even talked about, my current listings yet, right? I have current listings on the market, and then I have pendings, and then I have closings I already had for the year. So we're just going to look at your pipeline of leads, the people who haven't bought a house yet. And we say, okay, I want to sell 36 houses. I need half of those, or say 15 of those are buyer sides, and 15 are, or I guess it would be 21 are listings, right? So if we're going to list 21 houses and sell them and have 15 buyer sides, that's 36 houses. I need to have X number in the pipeline so that happens. So right out of the gate, you put down everybody on this list who is actively talking to you about listing their home. It could be now, it could be 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now. They're going to move. And in some cases, they're going to move before they do. There are people in your sphere, maybe in your family, past clients of yours that they're talking about. You can just tell they're going to move. They haven't said, hey, Sherry, we're going to move, but you just know they're going to because you can tell, right? So you don't have to have permission to put people on this list. It's your list. So your list of people you're going to keep track of, because you want to be the one to maximize the opportunity when the time comes for them to sell. You'll be the one that's in front of them. So we have no real good system of organizing our leads in this business. I haven't found, I did find a CRM that we now sell in coaching, But I have to tell you, this system on paper for right now will organize your leads, and we'll put it on paper for you to see what you actually have in potential business. And what a great boost that is, because once you see these numbers, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I have a lot of business. So everybody you're talking to goes on the list, and whether they know it or not, even if they haven't said, hey, we want you to come over to see our house, you have a feeling they're going to move because one of them got promoted and they're getting transferred to, they're getting transferred to, I think I have someone asking a question. So if they're getting transferred and you know they're going to move, right? You're going to say, gee, those people are probably going to move, or they're expanding their family and they need a bigger house because the one you sold them 7 years ago is a 3-bedroom and now they have more kids. And so you kind of know what's going on with your people, right? So you can figure that out by knowing their lives. I mean, basically, you're going to put these people on the list, and that will be awesome. So if you have questions, I saw some hands go up. Go into the Q&A, and you can write your question in there, and I will see them, and then I can. Let me see here. Perfect. So go ahead and ask those questions in the Q&A section on the pop-up window that shows up when you're watching. Because I don't see the questions, but I saw some hands go up. So now you can look at this as future business, right? So don't you want business 6 months from now? Wouldn't it be nice to know that in December you have 3 or 4 listings that you know are going to come on the market in December? Why do I say that? How do I know that's going to happen? People say, well, how do you know this, Sherry? Because I know. You put enough people on this pipeline, okay? And it's like the Alaskan pipeline. It goes on forever, and you'll always have enough people. If you only have 10 people in your pipeline, okay, you're only going to have a couple deals a month, period. That's all that can happen, right? Because you didn't cast the net big enough. So the bigger the net, the more people that are on here, the more chances of you actually driving that business to happen, because you're going to have more people you're talking to, you're going to close them, you're going to convert them, and you're going to make them happy because you'll achieve what they need, but you'll also be hitting your numbers. And so I say this is a numbers game until you identify that somebody's a client. And once they're a client, you treat them phenomenally with Ritz-Carlton-like service, but you have to be looking at this as a numbers game. We're going to talk about how you do this. So let me take you to the next page. We look at, we put there, again, listings are in here, your potential listings, your potential buyers, the total of both, okay? And as you'll see, when you add this up, this is just your potential business. Now, if you're going after for sale by owners, I would suggest making a second page for the listings that says FSBOs on it. Again, expired listings, I would make a second page that says, these are the expired listings I'm going after, and the total of that amount. What would that be? If there are 20 expired listings you're going after, what is that total, right? They all listed with you, boom. Same with the potential listing sheet would be any of your clients, any leads that came in from online sources, any open house leads or call-ins, or if you're doing opportunity time, floor time to your front desk, or referrals. So anybody in the all other would go on your main sheet, okay? My goal and my hope is that you have a second page for this, because that means you have more than 25 potential listing leads. As you go through this, now think about it. If somebody's going to buy or sell, rather buy and sell with you, they're going to be on both sheets, right? So Kim and Bob Jones are going to list their house with you, and they're going to buy with you. So they obviously go on both sheets. They're going to list for $250, and they're going to buy for $450, and they go on both sheets. They're showing up on both sides because you have transactions for both listing and buyer sides. As we move on, you're going to look at the page 4 of this document. This system actually says, okay, how many current listings do I have, and what do they total? So again, would that be $1.5 million. I don't know. I don't know what you have on the market right now. But if everything you had on the market sold, what would that amount to? There's a place for you to put their motivational level, depending on their motivation, which is okay. Every listing is a great listing, whether the seller's motivated or not. And again, in the first page, there is a column for you to put their time frame. So you could put 60 days, you could put 6 months, and then the ranking was where I want you to decide if they're an A, B, or C level client. Now, some people start out as a C and they jump right to A. We know that. Again, we're trying to expand and fill up the B and C, because those 7 to 10 that are A, you're going to already work with. You're already working with those people now. We want the A's. We want more A's, obviously, because the more A's you have, the more actual activity you're doing each month. But the B's and the C's are going to be the future A's, right? They're going to be the people that come on board and list their house 6-8 months from now. You're going to be so happy that you had this big, huge pipeline, because now you're creating your destiny. You are actually creating the business. So the ranking is important, but don't get all tied up about the time of the ranking. So I usually, as a guide, say A would be the next 60 days, and then B might be up to 6 months, and then C might be over 6 months, or you just don't know yet. Once you look at all of these, you're going to put your current listings, and you're going to put your current closings on here. There's the ones that are pending, haven't transferred yet. And then on the very last page, as you see here, all of the A's, we total it up between the potential listings, the potential buyers, your current listings, current closings, and then we add your year-to-date closings, so closed sales. So if you already closed $1.5 million, you would add that number right in here. You add it up and you say, gee, I have $9.5 million. Wow. Right? Or I have $15 million. Wow. For some of you, it's $25 million in the pipeline. Now that's, again, just your A people. If we step down and we look at the second chart, this one's going to include everyone, A, B, and C ranking, which means the entire list. So this number is going to be really big. And this is important because when you look at that, I don't know about you, but that really drives me and excites me that I now have all this potential income. I'm a rock star. I didn't even know it. I'm a new agent. I'm an experienced agent that just didn't realize I had all this business, right? Or I'm a top agent and I actually know I'm going to double from 10 million to 20 million next year because I have it in the pipeline. So I see a question. I'm going to grab this. Yes, Jessica, I am emailing the entire webinar, recorded webinar you will get. So that includes all these slides, and it does include the documents. So you'll get these documents actually, which is worth, I think, a ton, because this is going to actually already be ready for you to go. Turnkey, which is how all of our coaching is. It's designed to accelerate your results. You don't have to create these things. You just start using them and use our strategies, and it works. Right here, in addition, when you get this form, I remind you, opportunities are not lost. They go someone else that's in here. You'll see that. But I have the step-by-step bullet points of instructions to remind you what to do with this thing. You carry it around with you. It's your pulse. It's the pulse of your business. It's actually going to tell you whether you have enough business or not for the next few months. So all these little bullet points here are instructions, and it's going to sound like you're having a conversation with me, your coach, because that's what it is. These are actually reminders and instructions about how to put people on here. And remember, people come on and off the list, right? They come on and off, but you don't take anybody off ever. Like, even if they're not calling you back, keep them on the list until someone tells you not to call them. Keep them on the list. I literally followed up with someone for 11 months from an open house. And then in the 11th month, they hired me to sell their $300,000 house and buy a $700,000 house with me. 3 years after I sold them that $700,000 house, they bought a $1 million+ house with me. So it pays to be persevering. It pays to be patient, and it pays to build a pipeline, even with people that are not in the now that want to do something this minute, okay? Because there are a lot of people that you meet that are at the top of the funnel, top of your sales funnel, and they aren't ready to do anything yet. And I don't want you to discount them. I want you to be patient with them and work with them. You will be so happy. You'll be so happy. So great, you can keep the questions coming. And so what I'm going to tell you is, again, people come on and off this list, meaning their motivation changes. So, they're moving, they're not moving. They're ready to list, then their plans change because something happens, right? So we have to be constantly aware that these folks are not, they're human beings, right? So their life is going to change, and that's okay because that's what happens. It's life. We're up, we're down, we're hot, we're cold. I always say this, we're like Katy Perry, that song. So when you think about, like, it's okay if somebody says we're going to list and then they don't, you just say, okay, and you keep them on the list, and you say, I'm not going anywhere. But keep them on the list, right? You ever have somebody in your office list a house that you talked to those people and they told you they weren't going to list? And this happens all the time. And the agent would come to me and say, I can't believe those people listed their house. They lied to me. And I'm saying, they didn't lie to you. You just didn't overcome their objection to putting the house on the market, and the other agent did. So really, you should be upset with yourself, right? They're upset with the seller because they think the seller lied to them and wasn't straight with them. And I'm like, well, actually, no, you just took what they said, so literally that you thought they weren't going to sell. Now, they met another agent, and that other agent explained that the market's really hot right now. We have pre-approved buyers for your neighborhood, and it's, we already have buyers. We should put your house on the market, see what happens. And they were enthusiastic, and so they got the listing. So I think sometimes when we over mirror the customer, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because really the thing you sell that you're passionate about should be the thing that you are constantly saying, you know what, I disagree. I think now is really a really good time. Why don't I come over and I can look at your house? Let's say you get an appointment, right? Instead of just constantly waiting for someone to say, we want to do this. So this is going to help you, and this is your pipeline for successful income. If this is empty, meaning you don't have people on the list, right? You don't have a full list. It's empty. And that's okay. You might have 3 people. You might have 5 people, okay? Then you need to go do more prospecting, okay? You need to put a plan together. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need to go into one of my coaching programs to figure out how you're going to go after the business. But you have to do something. Something has to change because you don't have any business on your pipeline. So if you have less than 10 people, you probably need to go out and do some open houses, prospect for sale by owners, prospect expireds, figure out what it is you want to do. I think what jams everybody up in this industry is that there are so many ways to pick up business that we get confused. There's a lot of noise. We do something for a couple weeks or a day, and maybe it doesn't work. And we don't really have a strategy for it. And then we give up on it. And we say that didn't work. Or people in your office tell you, oh, don't do that. It doesn't work. The bottom line is there's a lot of noise, and there's a lot of hundreds of ways to pick up new clients. And I think if you focus and put a strategy together on how you're going to do it, you'll succeed. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to have anything, right? You're just going to fumble around saying, I hope people show up to my open house. I hope people call. I hope someone responds to my post online. It doesn't always happen. So most successful agents go out and make it happen. And so if it's empty, if your pipeline is empty, you need more business. You need to go entertain more. You need to go to some events where you're going to run into people more. You need to get on the phone and make it happen. So if it's full and you aren't getting appointments, okay, you can't close an appointment. Like, you have to call people and say, I'd like to come and see your house. You can't wait for people to tell you that they want to list their house. It doesn't work that way. So it does occasionally. People will call you up and say, hey, Sherry, ready to go. We'd like you to list our house. And I say, great. that's wonderful. It's like a gift. It's like a Tiffany box with a bow on it. It's a gift, right? But that's not how it happens. So if you can't convert the people that are on your list, I call that dead ending. You're dead ending your script strategy. You don't have a strategy, because every top salesperson in any field has a strategy before they make the call, before they have an open house, before they go into an appointment, before they meet somebody in person. They have a strategy, how they want that conversation to go. Most of us, most of you probably don't. And if you do, fantastic. I applaud you, right? The strategy is I'm going to come out with the listing. The strategy is I'm going to come out of an open house with a lot more business. So if you can't convert the people that are on there, you need new scripts, you need new material. And I say the material is both verbal and written, meaning what does your listing presentation look like? Maybe you're not converting people because you don't have a good enough listing presentation. That's a good enough strategy. If you're doing open houses and you never pick up clients, then you need new material. There's I teach a class called Make 50 Grand at Your Next Open House on purpose. So you need material in order to compete. So if you cannot close these people that are on your pipeline, you need to get with a coach, increase your conversion, increase your script strategies, increase your delivery, increase confidence. But you need to increase your conversion, and you need to be able to have better scripts and dialogues with these people. Because I had an agent one time came to me and she said, I only have 4 buyers right now. I have no business. And I took out the pipeline and I said, when's the last time you filled one of these out? She said, well, it's been a while. And I said, okay, we're going to fill one out now. And we're going to start with the 4 people you have, which is great. And I said, how many people are you talking to about selling their home? And she said, oh, I have a ton of those. And I said, well, how much is a ton? She said, 25. And I said, wow, you have 25 potential listings. I said, are they all moving out of state? And she said, no, none of them are. And I said, well, then you have 29 buyers and you have 25 listing leads. And she said, yes, but none of them have asked me to come and sell their house yet. And I said to her, they're not going to, right? You have to get excited. You have to be the one to initiate a conversation that says, I'm going to list your house. I'm coming over. I'm going to add value. Okay. And we teach you how to do this. All my coaching, all of our systems are set up to have you compete at the highest level and win every listing appointment and get appointments, period, and convert these people that you meet. So she was very excited to know that she actually it came out to like $5 million in business. Okay. So see what happens when you put this stuff on paper. You say, wow, I actually have $3.5 million sitting right here. I didn't even realize, because you were stuck only thinking about the people in the now. You were stuck only thinking about the 4 or 5 or 10, maybe 10 people that might do something right now. If you open that up and look at everyone as a potential sale or listing in a future state, you will now expand that list, build a pipeline, and you'll have $5 million before you know it. And then the next stage is to convert all those people into appointments, just like my sales cycle, conversion cycle says. Take these people from lead to client and then client to appointment. So now, we want to avoid having the 3 eggs in the basket. And I say that because when you only have 3 eggs in the basket, you have 3 things that are happening, right? You think they're going to happen. They're the only 3 things you're working on, and they don't happen, right? And you say, gee, I was counting on all 3 of those to happen. I had an agent who she had 2 listings that she was sure she was getting. One was like 215, the other one was 350. One was the 350 was a relocation that was expiring in like a week, and she knew she was getting that. And we couldn't speed that process up, right? She was going out of town for 4 days, and I said, well, can we get these people listed before you leave? Well, the relocation we couldn't. And the other one for 215, they weren't ready and they wouldn't sign. And the third thing that she was planning on was a buyer that was going to buy $400,000 house with her when she returned from her trip. So I said, can we write that before you leave? Is there any way we can get them on paper before you leave? Create some urgency and get it done now, right? And she said, no, they're not ready. They can't do it. I'm only going to be gone for 4 days. It's okay. I said, fine. So while she's gone in those 4 days, I saw the house for $215 get listed with another agent. Not cool. And then I saw the house for $350 that was an expiring relo listing get sold before it expired. So that one's gone. And so I knew those two things had happened. And in that less than 4 day period, she came back into the office and she's in tears and she's all upset. And she says, you're not going to believe this. You know, those other two things happened. But her buyer had gone and bought, you guessed it, a for sale by owner for $400,000 and without her. So all three things didn't come to fruition. And so I said immediately how sorry I was, but I said, you know, obviously you have other business. You must have other business. And she said, no, these were the three things I was counting on. I said, I pulled out the pipeline. I said, so are there any other people you're talking to? No. So the lesson here is, and she had to start over. She literally had to start over from scratch. And I don't want that to happen to anyone, to you or to anybody. So don't let that happen. Don't only have a few people in your pipeline. If they don't pan out, there's no income. You know, and certainly that's not a way to build consistent monthly income. You want to build consistent monthly income where you are always able to say, you know what, I've got it to a point where I make this much every month because I have enough people in the pipeline. And I never have to worry about only having a few eggs in the basket because that's not going to happen, not to you, because now you know the secret and you know how to use this system. So when you are trying to convert business, there are several script strategies that I use. I will point out, this is part of our coaching program, but the communication process, you know, you are best when you're face-to-face. You're best when you're face-to-face. Second to that is on the phone, right? I can't communicate my enthusiasm unless I use a lot of emojis and exclamation points, right? On email or text. I know sometimes we have to communicate that way with people today, but I'm best when I'm in front of people. And so body language is 55% of our communication. Tone of voice is 38%. And then words, the actual words we use are only 7%. It's crazy, but it's true. And so you have to use the right words to close business. You have to be taught this. And you have to know how to read and respond to people's body language and tone of voice. And if you can do all of this and adopt these systems of delivery for value added, value driven, I'm adding value to the process, you will get hired. It's an automatic win for you. It's hard to adopt these things because you've done what you've done most of your career, which is to feature and benefit people to death, sort of, right? So we feature and benefit people. This is what I can do. This is what I can do for you. Here's the tools I have. This is what I have, which are all great, except you're not adding value, okay? When we talk about leading the conversation with questions, it's true. The person who controls the conversation the most is the one who asks the most questions. So do you ask enough questions to help you figure out the next step in the process? I ask a ton of questions. I need to know how I can help service these people. You know, do you explain to people how it's in their best financial interest to work with you? That's a game-changing script that we use, Sherry Johnson Coaching. How I work best for you is to sit and explain to them, this is how I work. I have a home buyer guide. I give this to you. We work together. I work at your pace and your speed, whether that's immediate or if you're just starting out gathering information. I'm not going anywhere, whether it's you're going to buy a house in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. We don't want it to be 2 years. Probably won't be, but I say it to take that pressure off that I'm, you know, a piranha salesperson. So you can be incredibly aggressive as a salesperson without being obnoxious. I do it all the time. And no one ever said to me, wow, you're really obnoxious, right? I would say to a potential client, I'm here I work at your pace, your speed, just results, no pressure. And so I just need to know what your pace and your speed are. And once I know that, I can help you. So you need to have really good script strategies. And I had somebody who recently attended one of my events that said, your delivery is what makes the difference, right? So how are you delivering your message? Are you feature and benefiting people, or are you adding value? And my systems and strategies will help you add real value to get hired. So you want to adopt these. And these are just some of the tools that I use in our coaching programs that will help you. And, there are two kinds of calls. Obviously, we make prospecting business calls, new business calls for new business. We want new business. And then we have servicing calls. And I think sometimes you get stuck with servicing calls when you shouldn't take those calls, right? So if you're negotiating a deal, I get it, you have to answer the phone. If you have a new lead coming in, you have to answer the phone. But I'm talking about the appointments or the calls that you get, rather, that are the ones that derail you from your day. The ones that you answer a call, you are in the middle of making phone calls to your sphere, or follow up on open house leads, or you're calling, cold calling for sale by owners, and you get a call in from a current client that could wait. So I say, let that go to voicemail, because that could derail you 25, 30 minutes of your day, okay, of where you were supposed to be doing something that you were going to do on purpose, and now you're taking a servicing call when you shouldn't have. So what we're going to talk about is how you time block the hours, right, in your day. How do you make sure that, how do you make sure that you are going after those money hours? Like, nothing interrupts the money hours, because frankly, we are not disciplined as it is. The best thing about real estate is it's flexible. The worst thing about real estate for an agent is that it's flexible, because we don't have an appointment with our desk. We don't have to show up at the office, right? So what I'm going to say to you is, did I make any money today? This is a thing I've said forever, since I was 22 years old, as a sales manager back in the day. I would say, I'd hit my watch and say, did I make any money today for myself? Like I said that, and I say it to myself now as an entrepreneur. Did I make any money today? So I show up to the office, dressed up, go on tour, talk to some of my colleagues, eat some lunch on tour, and then go home, or do some busy work on the computer. It's very deceiving, because you show up and you're talking real estate, but you weren't on appointment. So I get very excited about this, because I'm emphatic that in order for you to make those two things connect, the goals you set, the money you said you wanted to make, and the reality of it happening, is that you have to have the discipline to say, I'm going to put in the work. So the time blocking, this is not a new system from me, although I promote it, we use it, we are advocates of it everywhere in coaching and in consulting. But you have to put down your ideal scenario for when you're going to make calls, and then make them. And it has to go on here, and you're not allowed to remove it, right? If it gets moved because there's an emergency, or they're showing a house, or you're listing a house, it's the only time they can do it, then you move it. Delete it, you move it. You cannot delete it, because you have to have that in there, or it's not going to happen. So I would ideally say to you in this, to put down, I'm going to call for sale by owners on Mondays and Fridays. And I always called them on Mondays, because they didn't sell their house Sunday. And it was a good time to call enthusiastically and be excited and ask them, hey, did you sell the house yet? And the response always is, no, we didn't sell it. And you can say, oh my gosh, you didn't sell it again this week. Gosh, I know you were really excited about the open house, or whatever. So I strategically called them on a Monday versus just calling them whenever. So you have to strategically put your calls on this sheet. This is not your actual calendar. This is your ideal. And then these appointments that you make with your phone, or you say, I'm going to make X number of calls each week, and these are the days I'm going to do it. This goes on your calendar as an appointment with yourself. I call this right here a money maker. This is your money maker, and it makes outgoing calls, right? We're waiting for people to call us. You can be making outgoing calls as well. So people say to me, how do you go from $25,000 a year to $250,000 a year? And the real truth to that is, and here it is, this is the answer right here. It's in the white letters, and it's, you have to double your appointments. That's how you do it. So you can double your appointments. You'll go from 3 million to 6 or 8 million. If you double your appointments and you're already doing 5 million, obviously, if we raise your average sale price in the midst of doing that, you'll go from 5 million to 10 or 12 million. You double the number of appointments you go on, you'll double your income. Exponentially double your income. So the person who's making $250,000 a year is not working 10 times harder. That's not the case. Although I think sometimes that is, you have to show up. You have to work. You have to work at least 40 hours a week, right? In the beginning, you're working 50, 60 hours a week. And I think some of our top agents need to have better systems in place so they're not working 60 hours a week. That's not the goal. Work-life balance is the goal, and making more money with, less work. That's the goal. So how do we take you from $25,000 to making $250,000 with these systems and with doubling the number of appointments you go on? Now, that might take a couple of years of doubling the appointment, because I don't know where you are right now in your business. If you're making $125,000 a year right now, certainly in 1 year you could go to 250. But if you're making 25, we can exponentially grow that each year. So it starts with having a mindset that you're going to make it happen yourself. You're going to fill the pipeline. You're going to use the pipeline mentality to say, I need more people in the pipeline in order to have more opportunities. And so hopefully you are excited about using the pipeline. I know the last month we did this seminar, I had amazing reviews from people that just said, wow, it was so eye-opening to realize that I have all this business. And that's my favorite part of what I do, is you already have this list. You have people from open houses from last year. You have people from open houses 6 months ago, plus the people you just met last year. Pull all those lists together. Grab those names, put them on this pipeline, and call them and follow up with them. And the worst thing that happens is they tell you they already bought a house. And if they do, say, great, congratulations. Do you know anybody I can help, right? Or ask them for their new address and put them on your mailing list. Or ask them, if you can invite them to like your Facebook page. You can make a new friend out of this, okay? The worst thing that happens is they tell you they bought their house or sold their house. That's it, okay? If I told you, if your average sale price, okay, this is another way to look at this. If your average sale price in commission, let's say your average commission is $5,000. And I said, go make 10 phone calls. And you went and made 10 phone calls, right? And you had an opportunity in those 10 calls to pick up a buyer and a seller. And that would actually not just be $5,000, but it would be $10,000 in commission, right? For 10 calls, right? How many of you, okay, would go do that right now? How many of you would actually, how many of you would actually call 10 people knowing that you have an opportunity to pick up a client who has a house to sell? So it's 2 sales, and now it's about $10,000 just by picking up the phone and putting these people on a list. That's what I'm talking about, right? Being strategic, having this in the back of your head, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to wake up every day and go list or sell a house. I just don't know the address. So I just got a great question that says, are you recording this? Yes, we are. We are recording it. If you came on late, and which is fine, we're going to send it to you this afternoon with a copy of the time blocking sheet and the pipeline worksheet. So you'll have that 4-page worksheet that you can use, start using it. You can send it to me. You can share it with me. You can take a picture of it, the total, and put it on my Facebook. I would love that. Anything goes. I'm happy to help you once you get that form going. And I'm going to talk about coaching programs in a moment. But we have another question that says, scripts for people from an open house a year ago. And I love this. Christy, this is great. Here's the best one. You have this list of people, you didn't follow up with them, or you did once or whatever. I know what happens because I did it myself. I also watched agents do this. So you pick that list up and you say, gee, I wonder if these people sold. So you go to the MLS, you see they didn't, they're still living there, and you call them up and you say, hey, Samantha, it's Sherry Johnson calling from XYZ Company. I met you a while back, I don't know, maybe last year at an open house. I was just doing some follow-up calls. I wondered, I see you're still living in your house, and I wondered if you were still thinking about making a move. We met at that house on Oak Street. Maybe you remember me, maybe you don't, but I just thought I would give you a call. I have pre-approved buyers for your neighborhood, and I would love an opportunity to see your house if you're thinking about moving. And that starts the conversation, right? Or you can call them up and say, hey, Jill, it's Sherry Johnson calling from XYZ Company, and I met you a while back. I'm not even sure if you remember me, but I remember you and your husband, and I remember, you were looking for a house. Have you purchased a home yet? Have you actually gone out and bought a house yet? And they're going to say yes or no. And you're going to decide at that point. If they say no, then you say, great, are you still considering making a move? And can I help you? I've got great listings that are coming on the market right now. I'd love to see your house if you're thinking about selling it. I have buyers right now for your neighborhood. Are you still listed are you still living at, Main Street? And that conversation will just start to evolve. I think what you're fearful of is looking ridiculous because it's been so long, right? So just swallow that frog and say, no, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're following up with them anyway. In my $50,000 open house class, and it's not on this webinar, but the truth is 75% of open house people never get a follow-up call anyway. So here you are. So what if it's 6 months, a year, whatever? You can just say, I don't like to bother people, but I thought I saw you're still living in your house, and I thought I would call you. I have buyers for your neighborhood, or I have homes right now that are coming on the market that you might be interested in. So is that a good answer, Christy? I hope that answered your question thoroughly and gave everyone else kind of a script strategy for how to go about calling someone who you met a while ago. And it feels weird for a minute, but again, they're not going to say, no one is going to say, oh my gosh, you never called. And even if they did, at that point, I would just suggest that you say, I don't like to obnoxiously follow up with people, but I calling you now, and I just wanted to see if you had purchased a home yet. And if not, I have services. I would like to come and see your house, and so on. So good. I'm glad that was helpful. So really, it's all in your court. I mean, the entire process, right, is in your court. And Tom is asking, do you have listing and buyer packets? So I'm assuming you mean like presentations. And so, yes, we have, in our coaching program, we give you everything you need to compete. A buyer presentation, book, kit, guide, whatever you want to call it. Right now, if you don't have one, create one. It doesn't have to be a huge project that, takes up, hours of your time. You can put something together in a pocket folder and call it a home buyer guide. What you're trying to do is differentiate yourself from everyone else and get them to say, wow, these people, this agent has a system or an enroll in my home buyer program. And I would call it exclusive. You're the only one who does it. Whether it's, your company has that or not, you have your own system for how you follow up with buyers. And so a lot of times the home buyer guide will actually, whether it's 5 pages or 20 pages, that guide will get you a listing appointment, right? So you're adding value to the process by saying, I have a home buyer kit, I have a home buyer guide, and use that very effectively to get to see them for a listing appointment, which is the goal. At every open house, you should ask for the appointment then, not wait a day. Or you can even say to people, hey, I can show you houses this afternoon. I've had agents that have great success doing this. They've sold them houses that week. They met them on Sunday. They showed them houses right after their open house that afternoon, 4:30 or whatever. You're already dressed, right? Might as well take them out looking at houses. And they've sold them that week because they asked right then. So, again, listing and buyer packets, yes, part of coaching is to provide you with that. And Tom, you just joined our coaching, so we're thrilled to have you. But your in the coaching program, you will get everything you need to compete at every level in all of these arenas. So your strategy for a better listing presentation is part of that as well. So and if you come up with another question relative to the pipeline, feel free to continue to send those in. I'm happy to keep answering them. I wanted to briefly tell you all, since you've been great to be on here today, that the Blueprint for Success coaching system from Sherry Johnson Coaching is designed to accelerate your results. We have Synergy Coaching, which is actual live one-on-one coaching with a life coach. You have 2 sessions a month, high accountability, high business planning. We create a business plan with you. It's personalized. You get, we look at your current presentations. We look at your listing presentation you have now. We literally, push holes through it. We find out where the areas you're not maximizing, and we accelerate your results. Our Synergy Coaching program, there are 2 plans. One does come with a CRM program that is fantastic. It's called Accelerate CRM. It's a lead generation system, and it is also a referral system. So that program comes as part of your cost and your fee. And what's great about this is we actually implement it for you. We show you how to implement it. We create 2 landing pages for you. We create some email templates for you. We give you tech sessions, and we make sure this thing is running and you're using it, which is just amazing. We also develop social media Facebook ad campaigns for you that tie together with your CRM, that tie together with landing pages, so that agents are generating 300 leads a month from using this on Facebook. So in addition to your personal coaching calls, in the Synergy Plus program, you would get the Accelerate CRM and other amazing tools, access to video, library, scripts, dialogues, forms, everything that you would need to accelerate your business and grow. There is also will be national events throughout the country. As a Synergy Coaching client, you would have discounted or free admission to those, depending on which group you were in. And also there's Facebook groups that I have. It's amazing content. It will accelerate your results. The return on investment is crazy. Unlimited online coaching, copy of your CRM with website visitor tracking. And this is really cool because, as you see here, all of these where there's a little world, that's someone visiting my website through Accelerate CRM. You don't have that right now. You have no idea if your past clients are visiting your website or not. And through our system, you will. You'll be able to track that. You'll be able to communicate with them automatically. You could be out showing houses, on vacation, wherever you are, and the system can actually send out an automated message saying, thank you for visiting my website. If you're thinking about selling, click here and set an appointment with me. So the Synergy Coaching program is very comprehensive, and it does involve using the GoldMine pipeline, obviously, as well as all of the other areas of your business. So from listing and buyer presentation to lead generation, offline and online, to better conversions. And we have videos on how to go after better scripts and strategies for converting for sale by owners, expireds, obviously your open houses, every piece of it. We also, in Synergy Plus, you get marketing and branding, as well as video consulting. So we help agents design and expand their Facebook presence. Your Facebook business page will take you from 100 followers to 1,500 followers, and so on. We'll help you get reviews. We have a whole system that is really, again, geared to accelerate results. The return on investment for the program, in my opinion, is amazing, because you'll spend between $7,000 and $15,000 if you do the higher program. It's a little bit more money, but you get that CRM in there. And the other thing is, you'll make another $85,000 to $150,000 more next year. So in the next 12 months. So the return on investment is, depending on your average sale price, it's 1 or 2 sales. And we know we will increase your units by 10, 20, 30, whatever you're willing to do. We are with you for the long haul, and we become your partner in success. We are 100% committed to your success, and we have lots of certified coaches that are active in the business. They have more than 15, some have 30 years of experience. They're engaged, they've been selling, they're fantastic, and they know all of my systems, and I'm incredibly engaged with you as well. Today and tomorrow, for the next 2 days, I'm offering $575 off your first month of coaching. So if you're interested, contact me. You can call us on our 800 number, 844-969-2600, and give us a ring, or you can reach us at yourock@sherryjohnson.com. You can go straight to sherryjohnson.com, and there's a apply for coaching, and you can just tell me you were on this webinar, and you'll get that $575 off your first month, whether it's Synergy or Synergy Plus. We are running this promotion simply because you attended this webinar, and I want you to be incredibly encouraged to join this. Some coaches have platitudes and talk about ways to grow your business, and I don't know that they have the actual strategies to do that. We are platitude free, we are results oriented, and we are 100% committed and invested in making sure you're hitting your goals, and we track that with you every month, and we give you the tools to do that. We're excited to take on new clients. We're not for everybody, but again, if you want to attend more webinars or follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you can do that. I would love to hear your comments. Send me an email or drop a review on Facebook at Sherry Johnson Coaching, and let me know what your best takeaway was from today's webinar. And I see another question. Oh, same question. We are looking forward to more webinars that we'll bring to you for free. The next webinar, as I mentioned, will be on social media and how to dominate social media and get 300 leads a month from Facebook. So you can sign up for that soon. I don't think it's out yet, but you're going to be on our mailing list, and we'll make sure that you have that. Again, if you want to follow me on social media, we have a Facebook group called Rockstars in Real Estate with Sherry Johnson. You can ask to join that. We'll put you in that group. It's a huge growing group across the country, and a great networking group. And if you're starting out and you can't afford the programs, I do have a $99 a month subscription, which is called Accelerate Club, and that will give you monthly content that is unbelievable. Video, scripts, emails that you'll get with tips on how to improve your social connection and how to engage more. It will give you how to do a better open house, how to negotiate better, how to get a listing. So there is a program that's $99 a month only, and we can sign you up for that right away and get you started in that. You can cancel anytime, and that's called Accelerate Club. And again, you can see that on sherryjohnson.com, or you can just call us and we'll enroll you and get you started right away. So I hope that you got a lot out of this. I'm excited to hear your comments, and I know that you will, if you use these systems, this building a pipeline and expand your list of buyer and seller leads, right? You will excel. You will create the business that you want. You'll create the monthly income that you want. And my gosh, if you add us to the mix and we become your coach, the sky's the limit. So I look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. And remember, you have a listing appointment this week. You just don't know the address. Thanks so much for being here. You rock. Take care. Bye-bye.